Yet another class. I'm Dr. B, your chemistry, in fact, your science teacher online. And today we are going to be discussing something about rationalizing sorts. Rationalizing sorts. Now, the method I am going to adopt in rationalizing this sort that we have here, it's a very simple and easy method, and the same method you can deploy in solving any rationalized problem, okay, in sorts. All you need to do is to pay attention to what we are going to be doing here. Once you get these steps right, that is the end of it. You can rationalize any sort that is brought before you. Do not forget that you are expected to share this class, and when you share this class, please and please tell them to subscribe. Subscription is free, and my channel is Dr. B Science Classes. Dr. B Science Classes. Even on Facebook is also Dr. B Science Class. And when you share, tell them to do what? To follow immediately. So that once these lectures come up, these classes come up, they're going to see it pop up immediately on their screens. Now we are doing both physics, chemistry, mathematics in these science classes, and this is mathematics today. So you share it to your mathematics friends and mathematics colleagues as well at mathematics departments, so they can also be part of what we are doing here. It's not just about the university. You can also do this with your SS3 students and also SS2 students to get themselves acquainted with works in chemistry, physics, and mathematics. Alright, so we are going to look at rationalizing sorts, and today we'll rationalize 1 all over 1 plus sort 2. Remember that we had discussed something about sorts here in our previous classes. Just scroll down our previous lectures and you'll see us talk about sorts. Today we are going to look at how we can rationalize sorts. Now, if you are given a question like this, rationalize 1 all over 1 plus sort 2. You can be given 1 plus sort 2 all over 1 plus sort 2. You can be given 5 all over sort 3. You can be given 7 all over 1 plus sort 3, and all those sorts. Okay, so all those are rationalized situations. Okay, they are sorts that require you to use rationalization method to solve them. Now, but something important you must note while solving sorts that ought to have been rationalized is that you have to create another kind of a fraction at the opposite side of the one that is given to you in its inverse form. You must remember that if you are going to rationalize any sort, you must first create a fraction of the inverse form of the denominator of the sort. That is to say, if you are given A all over sort B, if you must rationalize this sort, then you have to have A over sort B multiplied by A over sort, multiplied by sort B over sort B. And if you are given A over 1 plus sort B, then it means that you have A over 1 plus sort B multiplied by 1 minus sort B over 1 minus sort B. So you are going to use the denominator to create another fraction of a sort which will be in its inverse form. Now, from here, we can simply look at this sort. Note that A over A plus sort C can be written as A all over A plus sort C multiplied by, use the denominator to create another fraction of sort. Okay? To create another fraction of sort, but in its inverse form. That means if the sign is negative, that inverse form of the denominator of the sort they are creating, multiplying by the earlier numerator and denominator will be positive. Now that this is positive, it means that that inverse will become negative. So we will now multiply the denominator by both the numerator and the denominator. That is the first step of rationalizing your sort. fractional sort. Okay, so you have to first use the denominator of the given sort to multiply by the numerator of the given sort and then by the denominator again of the given sort. That means we are going to create a fraction of this, but in the inverse form. So we have there that this will be a multiplied by, this will be a minus sort c over a minus sort c. So you can see from here that we have used this denominator to multiply by the numerator of the given sort and multiply also by the denominator of the given sort. But the denominator that is used is in its inverse form. So instead of positive, we use negative. That is the first step you must take. The first thing you must note if you are rationalizing sort of any kind. You must make use of the denominator of that given sort. Use it to multiply by the numerator of the given sort and again by the denominator of the given sort, but in its inverse form. And that is what we have here. So, if we link this to what we've done here, it means that 1 all over 1 plus sort 2 will be written as 1 all over 1 plus sort 2 multiplied by 1 minus sort 2 all over 1 minus sort 2. If we follow what we have done here, if we follow this rule that we have here, we will present this sort, we will rationalize this sort in this format. Okay? Because we have said that the first step you have to take in rationalizing a sort, especially a fractional sort, is by using the denominator of the given sort to multiply by the numerator of the given sort and by the denominator again of the given sort, but in its inverse form. So if the denominator of the given sort is positive, it means that in its inverse form become negative. If it is negative, it becomes positive. Now, from this question, if we are using the denominator to multiply by the numerator and the denominator in its inverse form, this plus will change to minus. And that is why we have this. Now, with this, we can rewrite this equation. Okay, now this will give us 1 times 1 minus this, okay, which remains this. That is 1 minus sort 2 all over this 1 plus sort 2 times 1 minus sort 2. So we open a bracket, 1 plus sort 2 times 1 minus sort 2. This is what we're going to have. So we have this times this and this times this. Now, we do not have much problem with 1 minus sort 2, but we have a little bit of a challenge with this bracket multiplying by this bracket. That means we are going to do an expansion. If you have not done factorization to understand how we expand certain problems, you have to learn here how we expand certain problems. Now, I want you to note that where you have a minus a plus b, okay, and a minus b, you will say a times a square, a times minus b square, minus ab plus b times a plus ab plus b times this minus b square. That is how you expand. Okay, so a times a plus a square, a times b minus ab plus b times a plus ab, and plus b times minus b, plus and minus is minus b squared. So because this is minus ab and this plus ab, plus minus same numbers will cancel out. So what you now have will be a squared minus b squared. This is how you factorize. Now, if we understand this factorization, we are going to now deploy this process in solving this. The denominator. We are looking at the denominator now and not the numerator. So we are going to deploy this process in solving this denominator. So we pull this out to this place to solve it in this format. Now we are looking at the denominator. Remember the denominator. We are not looking at the numerator first. So denominator. So 1 plus sod 2 times 1 minus sod 2. We are deploying this process to solving this process. So 1 times 1 will give us 1 square. 1 times minus square sod 2 will give us minus sod 2. We are done with this. We come to this. Plus sod 2 times 1 will give us plus sod 2. Plus sod 2 times minus sod 2. Plus and minus is minus. So we have minus to the square root. Sorry, to the square of what? Of sod 2. To the square of sod 2. Okay, so we now have this particular format displayed here. So we have 1 times 1, 1 square, 1 times minus 2, minus sod 2, plus 2 times 1, plus sod 2, plus sod 2 times minus sod 2, plus minus is minus. We have minus what? Sod 2 square. So, since this is minus 2 plus 2, like we had here on the same numbers with opposite signs, we cancel them out. So, we will eventually be having 1 square minus sod 2 square. That's what we're going to have. Now, here, we have been able to solve the denominator. So, we now place the numerator over the denominator. So, we place this over this. Alright, let's see that. Let's see how that works. Let's see how that works. Okay, this means that from here we'll now have 1 minus sod 2 all over this. 1 square minus sod 2 square. That's what we'll have. The 1 minus sod 2 came from our rationalization here. Okay? And then this 1 square minus sod 2 square comes from the expansion of this problem we have here, which follow this process. So with this, we can go ahead and solve it. Do not make a mistake of cancelling this by this. Once you cancel this sod 2 by this square and tell me that it is 1 all over 1 minus sod 2, you are wrong. You don't rationalize sorts in that way. You must follow the laws that govern sorts. Check our previous lectures. We have it there. Now, to solve this sod 2 square, we'll have this. 1 minus sod 2 over 1 square minus sod 2 times sod 2. Remember that sod 2 square means sod 2 times sod 2. Again, do not make a mistake of cancelling anything here. Look, sod 2 times sod 2. As far as you have the same sorts, let's note sod A times sod A is equals to A. Once you are multiplying the product of a sod to itself, give you an integer of that particular sod. So sod A times sod A, A. Sod C times sod C is C. Sod 10 times sod 10 is 10, and not sod 10. So it means that here will be 2. So we are going to rather have 1 minus sod 2 all over 1 square. Of course, let's leave this 1 square thing. 1 square is 1. Isn't so? 1 times 1 is 1. So we have 1 minus 2. This is because sod 2 times sod 2 is 2 as an integer, a number. So we have this. 1 minus 2 will give us what? Minus 1. 1 minus 2 will give us minus 1. So we will have 1 minus 2 all over minus 1. And finally, minus 1 will be taken up here. Ordinarily, one would have expected that we should be having a positive 1 as it moves across a division sign. But this is minus 1 minus 2 all over 1 and 1 all over 1 minus all over minus 1. So if you now multiply by changing the division sign, you have minus 1 minus 2, okay, times minus 1 over what? 1. So you will now have something like 1 minus 2, okay, times what? Let me say times 1. Okay, so you have this will move, of course, up and give you, possibly it's supposed to give a positive sign, all right, like I said before. So if you have minus 1 on top, you have minus 1 times minus 2 will give you plus 2. And then minus 1, okay, itself times plus 1 will give you minus 1. And in this, you have arrived at the answer of this problem. So it means that to rationalize 1 over 1 plus 2, the answer is 2 minus 1. You can see how simple this goes. What matters in solving mathematics or mathematical problem is understanding the rules and laws that govern every type of mathematics. When we were dealing with logarithm, we have rules and laws that govern them. And if you understand the rules and laws that govern them, you can be able to solve any problem in them. Today we have discussed rationalizing surds, and we try to rationalize 1 all over 1 plus 2. And for every step we move, we try to make us understand that there is a rule that governs solving that step. And once you understand the rule that is there, that you must take note of while solving a particular step, that is the end. You can solve any other problem that comes. And we brought ourselves down to a point where we have to do what? Solve this problem by simply expanding into a quadratic equation. And we said there is a rule to doing that. And we followed the rule and arrived at this. We introduced this rule to solving the denominator of this surd. And that brought us into getting at this point. And at this point, we brought ourselves this way. Because there is a rule for surd, which says the product rule, that same surd, the product of same surd is what? An integer. And if that is true, we now have to deal with the product of the same surd, an integer, which is 2. And that brought us here. And at this point, 1 minus 2 is minus 1. At this point, we have to do what? Take the minus 1 up here. Multiply it by minus 2 gives you a positive 2. Multiply by plus 1 gives you a negative 1. So the rationalization of 1 all over 1 plus 2 is 2 minus 1. As simple as that. Take note of the rules that govern solving any mathematics and solving any example or exercise as far as that is concerned is good. Now, with what we have done here, pick any of the rationalization of surds and try to rationalize it. Following this rule, you will get it simple and short. Now, I appreciate the fact that we have been able to do this class today. I remain Dr. B from Dr. B Science Classes online. Through Facebook, you will see that Dr. B Science Classes. Through YouTube, Dr. B Science Classes. Please help to share this class, and when you share, tell them to subscribe and ask them to also like. If you have a problem, just